Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lock Shop, 11:02 on the Friday of the Masters. We're going to get into that as we work our way through the show today. NHL slate tonight, a little EST parlay. We'll recap the recap last night in the National Hockey League as well. If you want to slide on in to the Nasty Chat with your favorite plays of the day, you can definitely do that. And of course, as you're listening here on TuneIn, on iHeart, if you go to edmontonsportstalk.com and click listen or watch live, you can join us there as well. And you can text us, 780-218-9999, the kind of breaking news around the National Hockey League today. Just moments ago, Mark Stone is back on the ice, ramping up to come off that LTIR for game one of the playoffs, I'm assuming. Huss was down in Nashville. He has returned home, and he joins us here on the Lock Shop today. Big win for the Winnipeg Jets last night. Holy smokes, that's impressive. See you later, YouTube Trav. What's this? So they lose 6 in a row and then win 5 straight, Huss? What's happening in Winnipeg right now?
Just ramping up for the playoffs, Dusty.
Yeah.
Just
Who are the Jets? Mark Stone?
Hey,
that's what it sounds like.
Listen, that was the game that the Jets and their fans needed. I mean, they were 0-3 against Dallas so far this season. What was funny, I saw a stat earlier. The Jets had the best record in the NHL against the top 7 teams in the league.
Interesting.
It was like 9-5-2. But of that, they were 0-3 against Dallas. So, I mean, they're 2-0 against Colorado. They swept the Panthers. They swept the Lightning. They were 1-1 against the Rangers in Boston. They've actually played quite well against the top teams. But, listen, they played horribly for that 6-game stretch. Some games worse than others. And even in this winning streak up until last night, listen, the bottom line is I was at that game in Nashville, and I think I said to you the next day, I mean, thank God for Connor Hellebuck, the best goaltender on the planet, because they had business winning that game. That was not the case last night. That was the Jets game that we saw in the first half of the season, in particular in the middle of the year when they went, 35 straight games with allowing 3 goals or less. It was a major confidence builder, I think, for the fan base right now. And now they go in. It was sort of we talked about it, running the gauntlet of the Central Division. Starting off in Minnesota, who's not going to the playoffs, got that win. Against the Predators, who are a wild card team, got that win. Against the Dallas Stars that they hadn't beat, they got the win in the most impressive fashion. And now Saturday, it's the final boss, Nate Dogg.
The final boss.
Yeah, shout out to The Rock. And the Colorado Avalanche, in what will, in all likelihood, be a precursor of a 7-game series in the first round. So, that was needed, and I think people are feeling better about the club right now because, I mean, God, there's been so much. I mean, you know how it is. Certain sections of the fan base just latch on to certain things. For a while, it was Logan Stanley. He's terrible. He's been playing great lately, kind of established himself in the lineup. And now it is the incessant debate, which I do get, over who should be playing with Scheifele on the left wing, Connor or Ehlers. They always go back to Connor. The numbers analytically are nothing close to what they are with Ehlers, but they keep on doing it. Tell you what, do whatever the hell you want. You play like that as a team last night and shut a team like Dallas down, you'll win your fair share of games. So it was a good one for Winnipeg last night and a big one on the weekend before things get real. But
Colorado, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's good.
Yeah. I still believe they're the final boss in the division. Although I guess Dallas will be if they're first. What's crazy about Dallas, Dusty, and coming off the heels of what you just mentioned, is that Dallas might finish first in the entire conference and get the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round of the playoffs.
I know.
How's that?
I was just saying, it's funny you bring that up because I was thinking about that about 10 minutes before we hopped on here when I saw the Mark Stone news, he's back, whatever. And so you see that, and I'm thinking, okay, well, what's going to happen here with Vegas? And he's not going to play, obviously, until the playoffs. But right now, Vegas is 3 points back of the Preds. They do have a game in hand. And so the Kings and the Preds are both 3 points ahead of Vegas. So we don't know where Vegas is going to settle in here. Is Vegas going to end up being the second wild card? They're going to be the first wild card. Are they going to? It's kind of weird because if the Oilers still track down the Canucks, they could get Vegas possibly in first round that way, or they could get Vegas this way, or Dallas, like you said, if the playoffs started today, they would have the Vegas Golden Knights. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how it plays out. Now, if it's the Vegas team that tries as hard as they tried here in Edmonton on Wednesday night, Dallas is going to take care of them. They're going to dispatch them pretty good. Vegas was awful. Aiden Hill looks like the guy who was number 5 on the depth chart when they started last season. Like, he was atrocious. That was his first game in a while. But Aiden Hill, and we went back on this because of the games, because of that game. We're like, what the hell's going on with Aiden Hill? Looked back on it, and he's got a sub-900 save percentage each of the last 2 months. Like, Aiden Hill is not the guy who went on this incredible Conn Smythe-worthy run in the playoffs last year. So I'll be really interested to see what ends up happening with Vegas. But these playoffs shaping up here, how big would home ice be for Winnipeg here against Colorado? What do you think?
Well, I think it would be big. Like in most series, I'm like, I mean, whatever. We see it not be that impactful more often than not. Against Colorado, though, it will be. And listen, this gets back to the whole conversation about the Jets' top line, which, last night was fine, but has been caved in at times more often than not, frankly, when Kyle Connor's been up there. When they have played Colorado before, the second that line goes out, McKinnon goes out with his line. That is what Bednar wants. The other side of that equation is that with last change, Rick Bowness can put out Adam Lowry, one of the top defensive checking centers in the entire league, on a line that's been very consistent all year long, and go toe-to-toe in that toughest matchup. So if this series goes the distance, to have a 7th game at home where you're getting far more Lowry versus McKinnon as opposed to McKinnon versus Scheifele matchups, I think is key. And hey, it's not going to hurt to have that crazy Winnipeg crowd behind the Jets as well. So I think that last change means a little bit more in this circumstance if it's Winnipeg, Colorado, than it would be for most other teams. Hey, just talking about Vegas right now, you mentioned, so they're a game in hand, and they're 3 back. They right now are at home for the rest of the season.
4 in a row, yep.
Minnesota tonight. Sunday, the Avalanche, and the Avalanche will be coming off. That'll be a back-to-back for the Avs because they play Winnipeg Saturday afternoon. And then the Chicago Blackhawks on Tuesday and the Ducks on Thursday. So let's give them those final 2 wins. If they get 6 of 8, let's say they don't win one of their 2 games against Minnesota or Colorado.
Yep.
Then the question is, can the Kings and Knights both get 4 points? Or sorry, the Kings and Predators both get 4 points over their final 2 games.
I got the Preds sked. They got 3 games left. Chicago, Columbus. Now, they do play them back-to-back. They play tonight, and then they play Saturday. And then they play Monday against Pittsburgh. And then that's it. Their season ends on Monday. So, I mean, there's 4 points just there for the taking. That could be a huge game for the Pittsburgh Penguins, or it will be a huge game for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So, yeah, I mean, but there's 4 points there for the taking. What are we looking at? What are they here? What do we got for the Kings?
Kings, Ducks at home, Wild at home, Blackhawks at home. So again,
so all these teams got pretty reasonable schedules.
So it could be like that. Like Vegas could be the 8th seed and go up against Dallas in the first round. How is that? Although, let's just talk about this. I've been saying, hey, listen, everyone that's saying that Vegas is screwing around with it. Like Mark Stone had a very serious injury. A lacerated spleen is something that, usually keeps guys out between 3 and 6 months. Well, it was either exaggerated, because I believe that came out at some point in February. So we're talking about March, April, May. Well, it's the middle of April right now, and he's out right now. So I don't know. I understand why a lot of people are saying they're up to it again. And I would not want anything as bad as they looked against the Oilers earlier this week. I would want no part of that team in the first round.
Well, in due to respect for the Golden Knights in that game, they did not have Pietrangelo. They obviously didn't have Stone. They didn't have Charlie Stevenson. They didn't have Carrier. They didn't have Roy. Like, they were missing some pretty significant pieces, like all pretty big contributors to the team. So but I am interested with the Aiden Hill thing, because I mean, maybe he finds another playoff gear, but he's been below league average for 2 months. Now they have other options there. Obviously, they had to roll with Hill last year due to injuries and things like that. But
Logan Thompson was playing pretty well as of late. He'd been really carrying.
He might end up being the guy, right? Well, yeah, he was playing a lot because Hill was out. So maybe they look towards Thompson, who was always the guy who was higher on that depth chart than Hill, anyway, for quite some time. So let's go. 780-218-9999. I see Duck Dad over there with Canadian Premier League Week 1. Some picks to wet your whistle over there if you want to dive into to that one.
CPL's already getting going. That caught me off guard.
Yeah. Yeah, not bad. So you can get in on those as well. 780-218-9999 can text us. So P. Greggy, he never got back to it, but I'm pretty sure his plan was to originally join us here today. So we're hoping to have Pat Gregoire join us at some point today, and we'll dive into the Masters. So let's just bang out tonight's NHL slate, and then we can kind of roll with the Masters here, take a look at the leaderboard. There's always live betting options as well, so we can certainly go there. I'll get you the goalies tonight in the National Hockey League. And, we got an okay slate for a Friday night. We got 5 games that we can kind of work with here. Freddie Anderson, Jordan Binnington, both unconfirmed at this point. The Preds and Hawks, UC Saros, Mrazek listed as unconfirmed. For the Oilers and Coyotes, Vejmelka versus Calvin Pickard. Minnesota tonight has Logan Thompson unconfirmed. Marc-Andre Fleury will start for the Minnesota Wild. And then the later game tonight, Calgary Flames and the Anaheim Ducks. Lucas Dostal unconfirmed for the Ducks, and Dustin Wolf unconfirmed for the Calgary Flames. So 5 games to take a look at here, Huss. What do you see jumping off the page here with the NHL tonight?
Well, first off, the Nashville Predators, lock that one in. This team, I mean, they were so ready to go in the against the Jets. The Jets scored on a couple of opportunistic plays in the first period, and then held on for dear life by an incredible performance by Hellebuck. I cannot possibly see them losing this game to the Blackhawks. I don't mind them on the puck line as well. Hurricanes Blues, so the Blues still technically have an opportunity to make the playoffs. I mean, you want to talk about a desperate team on last call. Just imagine if they didn't drop that 4-0 game at home to San Jose a couple weeks ago. Maybe 1 point back right now. That is an intriguing game, although I do think Carolina is big. Although I don't think Carolina on the road should be a minus 210 favorite. I will say that. I think the number on St. Louis is good. Obviously, Edmonton and Arizona. Are the Coyotes on a magic run to finish off their existence as a franchise?
Well, they have won 3 of 4 and are just over 500 in their last 10. So that's why Utah wants to get them, Huss. We haven't talked about that yet. We haven't got your thoughts on that one yet.
Well, listen, my thoughts are as they've been the entire time. I don't like doing a victory lap at the expense of a lot of people that deserve to be treated better in Arizona, both the fans and their staff. But I said a month and a half ago that this team was gone this year. And I was on the Rod Peterson show, and I said that. And I said, listen, I'm expecting the Coyotes to be in Utah next year. And sometimes the RP show, if you're on, they'll just take a clip.
Yeah, I know.
Or a statement. They didn't even put the clip in. They just had a picture of me going, the Coyotes will in Utah next year. So, of course, because this was far ahead of the game. No one was really talking about that. But, I mean, take it as someone from Winnipeg that saw the way things happen with Atlanta coming here. All of this, when Utah came out with that press release, everyone was just talking about the terrible timing for it because that was when Carter Hart and all those guys were getting charged. and I think missed like, oh, why would the NHL be talking about expansion right now? Oh, they're just trying to get away from it. Now, the NHL certainly had a big part in the timing of that. Make no mistake about it. But if you read into it, the key bit of that press release was Ryan Smith saying, we are ready to host an NHL team right now. That, to me, that was pressure on the Coyotes to figure this out or basically be gone. And we know how pissed the PA is right now. I mean, like, owners and whatnot are mad that they're playing in that building, but think of all the hockey-related revenue of which 50% goes to the players that's being lost right now by them there. No one's happy with the situation. So, anyways, I've thought ever since that happened that this was going to happen this summer, and now it looks like it is going to. And from the NHL standpoint, I think they're holding their nose. They're going to give Alex Marullo a big chunk of cash, like 2.5 times his investment, to get lost. Move that team to a legitimate ownership group in Utah with Ryan Smith, and then move forward. I mean, the Coyotes, as embarrassing as it's been on the ice and playing in Mullet Arena, that organization off the ice has been a disgrace.
Yes.
I mean, they were having to pay with certified checks in advance for their hotels because they weren't paying bills. I mean, remember that ESPN?
I remember that. Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Like, they went on, like, this was an old Trump move. Like, don't pay your bills. And then when it finally comes through it, you just negotiate, and the people are like, okay, we'll take 60% of it just to get it over with. And that's exactly what had been happening with the Coyotes. So the NHL can't be done with that group soon enough. The market, I think, still has potential in the future, but it's going to be in a lengthy time out until they get a building and a legitimate owner there. I think they can make it happen.
Yeah, and we'll see. And somebody, I don't know if they was in the nasty chat or texted in, but yeah, here it is. Miller Time, 1980 says, getting the Arizona franchise would be way better than getting an expansion franchise. Look at all the draft picks that they have in the next few years. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. Right? Like, it's set up pretty well now.
I fully agree with that. I mean, as opposed to paying the huge money for an expansion team, you get the Coyotes with the players they have right now. They've got like 10 second-round picks or 10 third-round picks in the next 3 drafts. It's crazy. So, I mean, listen, I think it's happening. And listen, for our listeners and viewers here in Western Canada, what the most interesting thing about this is, does that create a shift in the divisions? I've been seeing a lot of that online. And that's not anything I've really thought too much about or have a lot of
just from Arizona to Utah?
Yes, exactly. With Arizona going to Utah, there's been a lot of thought about the Oilers and the Flames moving to the Central Division and the Avalanche in Utah moving to the Pacific Division. And then there was another thought that potentially they go into kind of groups of 4 and have the 4 Western Canadian teams. I saw
that one. Gager texted me that one yesterday. He's like, here's an off-season chat. I don't know. I don't know if I'd like it's not that far away, isn't it? Isn't it like one state above? Isn't that where it is? Like, how big a move is this? Because I was looking yesterday, I saw somebody like, I can't remember who it was. Maybe one of the Oilers Nation guys, but it was like they had them all branched off, and I was like, you're going to throw teams in divisions that are like 3 different time zones? Like, I just don't see that. I don't see that happening. I think they probably leave it the way it is, but. I mean, the overall bigger scheme of things, geographically, they're not moving that far. You know what I mean? Like, you can still make it work. So,
I would love for it to happen, to be honest. I mean, I would love to have the Jets in the Oilers division, in the Flames division. I mean, like, for us, let's just talk selfishly for a minute. If all of a sudden we were getting 4 or 5 Jets-Oilers games every regular season, like what we could do with a little home and home, a little travel back and forth, the potential of playoffs. I mean, it would be great. And I think certainly from a Canadian TV perspective, they would probably like that as well. Your games Like the Flames and the Oilers, if they did that move, would be the ones that would move the most. But I'm not sure that the organizations might not like that, to have more earlier games as opposed to so many later games.
Yeah, earlier games. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just think I don't know. Like the California trips aren't that bad for the Oilers, right? Like it's going all the way out east, tough, but like the travel within the Pacific Division's not that bad. I'd be surprised by it. But I mean, it always gets opened up if you're going to move a franchise to kind of take a look at the divisions, right? So, what would they say? How would it work with the 4? How would they lay that out? Like, did you see that? Did you see what would the playoffs be? Like, top 2 in the division make the playoffs? Is that kind of how it works, or would it be a wild card crossover? I don't know.
That would be such an NHL thing to do. Oh yeah, we're just gonna have the top 2 in every division make the playoffs, and they'll probably play each other. So there's no chance of any other matchups. We should be going to 1-8. Like this is a perfect example this year why we should be going. And I think if it was 1-8, we'd be getting Edmonton, Winnipeg too, which would be freaking amazing.
Oh yeah, that would be good. You're right. That is where it would be right now, hey?
I think so.
Ooh.
I think so. Ooh. The standings right now, just straight up in the conference.
After last night,
it would be Jets, Preds, Colorado, Edmonton.
McKinnon, McDavid, first round. Oh boy, that'd be something. I'm with you. I mean, the Preds in regulation tonight -149. Oilers in regulation tonight -182. You're right about the Hurricanes and the -210. I mean, considering like St. Louis this will be it for them. I like the Canes, but at -210, it's like there's decent value here in St. Louis as a dog at +175. Calgary, Anaheim, staying away from that one or what? Does it matter at all in your world? Like, what do you think?
It doesn't matter at all in our world. I mean, Calgary was terrible last night. I mean, against the Kings. By the way, shout out to our old pal PLD, who's now on the 4th line of the LA Kings. Unbelievable. But yeah, Calgary is done. And by the way, I looked at my account yesterday. I'm like, oh, wait a second. Where did this come from? Everyone that rode with me on the Calgary under 86.5 at the All-Star break, you're already been paid out. Thank you very much. Calgary is into next year's season already.
780-218-9999 is where you can get in. 780-218-9999. Rod Z is in on the Blues and the Ducks on the money line tonight. Rode with Rod Z in a little 5-gamer last night that kind of went off the rails pretty bad. But he's usually got some pretty good plays over there as well.
Yeah, you know what? Rod Z's with us in the Blues. I'm thinking Blues, Predators puck line.
Preds puck line. Okay, let's see here.
Preds puck line, which is -102.
That alone, those two alone are just +445.
I might just do that. I guess we want to really get aggressive. We could throw the Ducks in there.
You just throw the Oilers in regulation on there. It's +744.
Whew.
Which is a pretty big number.
Puck line. Oilers in reg. Is McDavid playing?
It doesn't look like he's going to play tonight.
You want a big banger? Blues, money line. Preds, puck line. Oilers in reg. Ducks, money line. +1790.
+1790. Not messing around there. Oh, that's good. I think I am going to sprinkle or I'll get on this Blues, Preds, Oilers that we're looking at. Let me throw that over to the boys for a little parlay as well. Patty's not going to be able to join us. He's without power out east. No power out east for Pete Greggy right now, so he's not going to be able to hop on today.
Can you imagine how much he's freaking out not being able to watch the Masters?
Well, I mean, he should go somewhere for lunch and sit down and watch the Masters somewhere. I mean, you can't. That's the worst possible Friday of the year to lose your power. That one sucks. And, that will bring us to the Masters. We'll send that off. Let me just text the boys. What do we say? Preds, puck line. Preds -1.5.
It's minus 1.5. St. Louis money line.
St. Louis money
plus
line
175. And then we'll throw the oil.
in reg.
The oil in reg. It just,
You worried about that?
well, if there's no McDavid, the guy, what did the Oilers care about this game?
Well,
That's the other
if
thing.
they win tonight, they're still just 2 points back of Vancouver. And they play Vancouver tomorrow, and McDavid should be back. So.
Do they? I guess okay, and that way.
You're thinking stay
just
where you are and play the Kings?
Ideally. That's the best case scenario for Edmonton, right?
Yeah, unless you believe in the theory it's tough to beat a team 3 times in a row. Because they beat them twice in a row. Do the Kings find a way to get that done? I don't think so. I'd be on the Oilers in 6 max. But yeah. So what, you want to go? You want to keep the Oilers off of it entirely?
I am thinking about that. Do we have any other options? Minnesota, Vegas.
Vegas to play there?
Just Golden Knights money line?
What's that number?
Golden Knights money line makes it plus 756.
Golden Knights money line 756. I mean, if they have the same lineup they did last game, I don't like that. They looked awful. I've never seen Vegas play that bad. What's their health situation like? Are they getting some of these guys back? Let's see here. Where are we at?
CFO.
Yeah, taking a look right now. So, no, it's pretty much the same group that they had against the Oil. Petrangelo's still out. Right now, they've got Stone obviously back practicing or whatever. Carrier, Stevenson, Roy, and Petrangelo. Those 5 guys are all out. Day to day, at least. Did
Hurdle play in the game against Edmonton?
Hurdle played, but he looked out of shape. He wasn't moving very much at all. It was he needs to get things kind of pumped back up a bit. So, man, I think I like the Oilers in regulation better than the Golden Knights money line. And
put it this way.
Is the number the same?
How about we just go Oilers money line then?
Okay, sure.
Just because I can see this, I can see them hanging around, not being that urgent to win. I'll still
gets us to plus 632.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Better safe than sorry. We'd be very angry if we hit these other 2, which are far more difficult games to win, and then didn't get it on a reg bet. So yeah, Blues and Oilers money line, Preds puck line. How about that? All
right, there we go. So there we go. Blues money line, Oilers money line, Preds puck line. Let me send this over to the boys. I got an EST. The EST parlay's online. Jake just said so. Preds minus 1.5. St. Louis money line, Oil money line for the partner parlay. All right, beauty. All right, let's get over to the Masters here, Huss.
Hey, what about the EST parlay?
Oh, the EST parlay. Let me see what that number should be. It should be better. We hit the one 2 days ago. It was plus 290. Draisaitl gets McDavid spot. So we just did what we always do with McDavid. Took the over. Took the over 1.5 points for him. He hit that. And here we go. Exclusives. Take a little peek here. Edmonton Sports Talk parlay plus 550. I like that one. So tonight I've got Draisaitl with a goal and an assist, and Bouchard and Nuge with points, and the Oilers to win in regulation, plus 550 will be the number on that one if you would like to ride with me tonight as the Oilers get the Coyotes. First half of back-to-back. Pickard is going to play tonight, but Pickard has been really good when he's had opportunities so far this year, so it's not going to scare me away from that one at all. So that's available, exclusives page over at coolbet.com. Huss, Masters yesterday. What's storyline number 1? That the Huss is looking at coming out of the Masters?
Listen, it's got to be Scotty Scheffler. I mean, first ever bogey-free round at the Masters. Biggest favorite since Tiger Woods 2 decades ago. And absolutely going nuclear yesterday. And he did get a little lucky. I think it was on 15 where it looked like you put it in the water and it managed to hang up there, and all of a sudden you just chipped it on, putted it in for a birdie as opposed to what would have been a bogey. Scheffler's the story. He's yet to tee off. He'll be on the tube all this afternoon. Obviously Bryson's great start was significant. In at 7 under.
Yeah, he's 1 over today, so he's at 6 under right now, tied with Scotty Scheffler, who doesn't tee off for another 20 minutes.
And your boy Max Homa's in the lead right now.
Well, this is really frustrating for me because we basically ignored Max Homa on our Masters preview. The form hadn't been there lately. I don't think anybody was expecting, with the way his season is gone, I don't think anybody's expecting Max Homa to be right up at the top of this thing. But here he is. He's 7 under, 2 under through 10 today. And, I wouldn't be. You think Scotty goes that low again? Or do you think he's at 4 under, 10 under heading into the weekend?
The course is playing really difficult today. I think the best round so far is 2 under.
Yeah, Max has that. Cam Young has that. Taylor Moore has hit 2 under as well. Patrick Reed, 2 under today. And that's about it. Those are the only guys who've done it. Zach Johnson.
Well, again, there's a lot of time. If you can just stay in and around even par, if you're in a good spot, I was so disappointed with Hideki's round, and I didn't get to see much of it. But to go 4 over par, and what are they saying right now? The projected cut is 3 over. So you're gonna have to get to that. And I'm just looking at guys. This is death for my DraftKings lineups. Sahith Theegala, he's at 4 over right now. Ashkay's at 4 over. He actually got back to, and he was even par right now, so he's 4 over on his round. Adam Hadwin is 4 over. He's got 2 holes left to play. Those are playing really tough. Siwoo Kim needs a birdie on 18 to make the cut, unless guys come back and it ends up being a 4 shots. It's also within 10 strokes of the lead, right? So I guess there's always the potential that the number could come back.
That's true. Depending on how that plays out, right? So
Nikolai Højgaard has actually looked really good. He's even par right now for his round. He was 5 under yesterday. Cam Davis is in, and speaking of Corey Connors, who we all loved, he's got a birdie. He's 1 over for his round, playing 5 right now. So he's looking really good. This afternoon, the guys that I'm very interested to see how they can hang. Willie Z, he's 2 under right now. Tony, Matty Fitzpatrick, Victor Hovland, Rory McIlroy, Cam Smith, all guys at 1 under right now, very much in the tournament. And again, we'll see what happens. Scotty can make all of this, and he goes out and shoots 5 under and has a 4-stroke lead. Well, it might be over today. But those players in particular, I think, have the opportunity to make a bit of a push. I see Brooks is 1 under. He's got it to even par, making the turn right now. As does Patrick Reed, as you mentioned. Yeah, he is 2 under par for his round. So, and Xander. We got to talk about Xander. He wasn't very good yesterday, but got it back to even. And I think those thoughts of him being top 10 still very much in the mix, Dustin.
Yeah, what was he? 2 over on the front. And then I was watching his back when he kind of started to turn around a little bit. So was it 2 over on the front and then 2 over on the back, or 2 under on the back to kind of get himself back to even yesterday? So I was a little concerned there in the early going. Xander will tee off here at 11:48 today, and he's sitting T24 with he's at even right now. Koepka right now sitting he's 1 under today. He's even on the tourney. Justin Thomas is even. There's a lot of guys right in that range that could go one way or the other. Rory tees off at 11:48 today, him being 1 under. Vic is 1 under. Cam Smith is 1 under. So there's a lot of guys kind of lurking around there, and if they can put together an afternoon here, get themselves into the mix heading into the weekend. If you go to Coolbet.com right now, and you can slide in there, they do have some live betting options that are popping up. So they got round 2, Rory versus Scotty Scheffler. Scheffler minus 167 there. And Wyndham Clark versus Vic. Clark started well yesterday, did not finish well. He was 3 under at one point. It was looking real nice. I watched his first 9 and his front 9, and it looked pretty good.
Did you hear his interview afterwards? Throwing a little shade?
Yeah, what did he say? The live guys? They've only played 54 or whatever?
Yeah, he goes, we got 50 hurls left, and these guys only play 54, so I like my chances. Somebody went 7 under today, didn't even call him by name. Said, so I think I could do that tomorrow. We'll see. Scheffler right now, plus 150. Homa, 5-1. Bryson, 6-1. Rory, 14. Neiman, 20. Cam Young, 25. 28s for Hogard and Willie Z. Corey Connors, 33. And Xander, 33. Those are your live outright odds.
Well, let's play this game then, Huss. There, Scheffler's plus 150. And I'm sitting there going, man, plus 150. But then I'm also looking at these other guys and go, well, who would I bet on to take it from him? Like, with the numbers you see right now, Huss, where would you say would be the wisest of plays if you were going to live bet one of those guys right now to win this thing?
Well, I mean, DeChambeau's tied with him. So
and he's 6-1 and Scotty's plus 150. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, do I think he's going to win? No, I don't. Max at 5 and having a good round, knowing that there's a bunch out there. I mean, maybe there's a bit of value on him. I mean, it's very tough to hit these live bets knowing that some guys haven't teed off yet. But I will say this, it does bode very well for Homa, just how difficult the course is playing. And watch me jinx him because he's going into Amen Corner, but 2 under par right now without a bogey on the card. Like, you'd have to think 1 or 2 is going to be coming Scotty's way. So maybe we make up for our disrespect and disregard for Max.
And try to get a piece of him right now.
By putting a little bit on him. I think I might. Oh, what was the number? Oh, no, sorry. That was not it. So it's plus 130 for Rory against Scotty today?
Yeah. I'm looking at it. Wait. Nope. It was somewhere else.
Yeah, no, I've got it right there.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, plus 130. Sorry, I was looking at the route because you can go in and you bet lowest score from holes 4 to 6 as well, and then 7 to 9. So you can kind of bet it in three hole stretches as well. That's in the live portion. But
3 hole stretches as well.
Yeah, like if you pop into the live, and you can see Rory and Scotty second round lowest score hole 4 to 6, lowest score hole 13 to 15. Tiger Woods, Jay Day on there as well. So these are the guys who'll be out there together.
Well, I'm just for fun and hoping that we get a more exciting tourney. I just bet Rory at plus 130 head to head, and I don't know if that interview is going to turn out well for Wyndham Clark as a rookie of the tourney.
I mean, it goes one way or the other. I mean, maybe who knows? Maybe he lights it up, but that's something to say there for sure.
I will take Vic Hovland. Hey, have you done the keyword yet?
No, I'm going to do keyword, and then we got to talk about this Ohtani thing. We're going to get into that.
Hey, do the keyword. I'm just grabbing a drink.
Yeah. Huss is coughing up a lung over there. I tell you, he needs to get the Symbicort inhaler. I tell you, that's got me back on track. All right, let's get to your keyword. It's the EST Flyway to Vegas. We will have another keyword coming your way here on a game day edition of the Oil Stream, which we'll certainly get to. Tell your friends about Edmonton Sports Talk and the fact that we are giving away a trip to Vegas. Listen for the keyword 4 times per day right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Better chances to get in on the Lock Shop and on the Hangout and on the Oil Stream and 2 guys than on the morning show. So it makes sense to keep on plugging in here. It's your chance to win 2 nonstop flights, 3 nights accommodations, tickets to a Cirque show, presented by FlyYG and the LVCVA. Nonstop flights to over 50 destinations. Your sports trip starts with a nonstop flight from FlyYEG. Keyword Lock Shop today is juice. 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 And this is just a coincidence that OJ died yesterday and the word is juice. It was already on the schedule, but the word is juice. 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 Text juice right now to 780-218-9999. It's a coincidence us that thing's been scheduled forever. Just happened to be that OJ passed away yesterday.
I won't touch that. Other than to say, it was hilarious to see Norm Macdonald trending yesterday
with the memes and stuff.
Well, there is a 10-minute compilation.
Oh yeah, I've watched it
of Norm doing OJ jokes. Yeah. And I think that, let's just say that got a lot of views yesterday. And one thing I'll say about OJ, remember when he joined Twitter?
Yes.
And he would always just go and do his tweets as if like he's just some regular dude. And would always, he'd always start everything off with, "Hey, Twitter world, it's me, yours truly." Like he just self-glossed himself as yours truly going forward. It was nuts. But you can feel good about donating to cancer charities again, everybody. Now that your funds won't be going to help one O.J. Simpson. Yeah. Orenthal is gone, and the football team in hell has a 2,000-yard rusher as well.
A 2,000-yard rusher. I think the one Norm Macdonald one I saw yesterday was the one. What was it? O.J. Simpson can rest in peace, knowing the killer of his wife is now dead. I was just like, my God. Like, some of the stuff that was popped up online yesterday, holy smokes. All right, Huss, we got to get to this story because we hit on it, and then I was like, what's going on with this case? So the complaints and the charges being laid against Ohtani's interpreter, Ipe Mezahura. The complaint alleges that Ipe placed about 19,000 bets between December 21st and December of 21 and January of 2024, which is essentially 2 years. I mean, it's the end of 1 year, 2 full years, and then so it's like just over 2 years, all with Ohtani's money. The complaint says that Ipe won $142 million, but lost $182 million for a net loss of $40.6 million. Eric was reading through on the show today. Eric was reading through some of the official complaints and stuff, and he was calling like banks, pretending to be Ohtani and trying to get the transfers in place. Like just apparently changed some passwords so Ohtani's money guys couldn't access it. But I mean, betting that much money over a 2-year stretch, it was, somebody did the math on it today, over $300,000 a day in betting is what they figured was happening here with Ipe. Lowest bet $10,000, $10. Biggest bet $160,000, which is quite a difference in units. But what do you make of the latest developments here with this story?
Well, listen, I mean, listen, I'm a fan of Ohtani, and I guess I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I mean, I remember you asking me about after we heard him speak.
Yeah.
And when he did speak, he could not have been more upfront and outright that he has never made a bet. He does not bet. I mean, he left no wiggle room at all for him to be involved in this. So, I mean, I kind of figured that it would probably end up that, you know, there was some pretty nefarious behavior by this guy. The fact of these numbers that we're hearing coming in, I mean, I have a hard time wrapping my head around it. And again, $40 million. So I guess he's still owing a shitload of money because there's no way that guy was covering. Like, I don't think there's been $40 million.
Well, I think the most recent thing was he was charged with $16 million in fraud or whatever. So, I mean, yeah, maybe there's still something owing. But like the report that I was reading yesterday goes on to say that he would place on average nearly 25 bets per day between late 2021 and early 2022 is what the feds are alleging here. They say there was no record of all of those bets that any were placed on baseball. Ohtani's agent did not regularly talk or text with him, instead communicating through Mizahara. When he repeatedly asked Mizahara about accessing the account that he was using to cover his gambling losses, Mizahara told him that Ohtani wanted it kept private. Also in the complaint, Ohtani's bookkeeper and tax prepper and financial advisor knew that this account existed but couldn't access it. Mizahara told him that Ohtani wanted the account kept private and that there were no tax issues because it wasn't used for gifts and did not accrue interest. So, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. But that's a lot of money to be moving around with just the interpreter having only access to it.
As I said, this guy wasn't just the interpreter. He was basically paid to be
He was with them all the time, right?
Like confidant. And he completely backstabbed him and took him advantage and ripped him off. So I guess he's going on some sort of a plea deal.
He was trying to negotiate a plea, yeah, because this could be 30 years in prison.
Yeah. That's it. Well, he'll get some. He'll get some. There's no doubt about that. But like their friends Pat and Jake and the gang at Coolbet say, you need to stay cool.
Yes.
You need to have fun with this. You need to be betting within your means. You cannot be in a situation where you're lying to anybody, never mind your employer that you're stealing money from about this. So
it is crazy that how could him and Ohtani are together? They were together all the time. How could you be making that many bets every single day around another person? The other guy has no clue what's going on. Like, if they're as close as everybody says, I just have a hard time believing that he never was like, what are you doing over there? Oh, where are you getting the money for all these huge bets? Like, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
The one funny, with all the criminal activity that he obviously was up to.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that he never bet on baseball.
Yeah, there's no record of that. So
if you're going to do everything else, I was a little bit surprised at that, but maybe he thought that at some point it would come back. It would be too close to home.
We were talking about it this morning on our show, back to the old wide world of wagering days with you, Huss, and he's all over disc golf and stuff like that. And somebody texted in this morning and said, Dusty, how many times do you think he bet on the CFL? And all I could think of was like, if $160,000 came in on a Riders plus 6.5 play, people are going to know about that. They're going to know that somebody bet that much money. Yeah. So, yeah, it's got. Our best text today was because I was like, how would no notification was ever sent to the accountant or Ohtani or anybody that this amount of money is being moved here. And somebody said, Dusty, maybe the notifications were just in English, and Ohtani couldn't read them, and he was like, actually, no, don't worry about this. Just hit confirm. We're good. I got you. So I can't wait. Fast forward 10 years. Give me the 30 and 30. That's what I want.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. And I mean, definitely a cautionary tale to any pro athlete, but especially those coming over. It's a unique situation. You're coming from another culture. You're really sort of isolated. You're not an English speaker. But I mean, you can look at Russian players coming here in the National Hockey League. I mean, there's been plenty of instances where people that are close, trusted confidants of people that are making big money get screwed over and taken advantage of. And unfortunately, this is an all-time example of that. Oh, Max has bogeyed, and Nikolai Højgaard has dropped a birdie in a four-way tie at -6 right now.
Ooh.
Scotty Scheffler is still yet to tee off at the Masters.
The good news is we got some big names that are going to be involved on Sunday, so that's going to be good. Scheffler should be teeing off here right away, so we'll keep tabs on that as we work our way through the oil stream today coming up. Huss, what's on Winnipeg Sports Talk today, bud? What do you got going on?
Well, we're going to have probably a pretty upbeat conversation about the Winnipeg Jets. We're going to get into last night's game. Brandon Rowicki's going to jump on. Mike McIntyre will join us to talk Jets, and Rutger McGroarty. Mike was in the Twin Cities last night as the University of Michigan lost to Boston College in the Frozen Four. So I imagine there'll be somewhat of a full court press over the course of the weekend with McGroarty's representatives to try to get him signed and here. And who knows, potentially playing in a game next week for either the Manitoba Moose or the Winnipeg Jets. We will see. He's the number one prospect for the Jets, though. They would love to see him get here. And even just to have him around Winnipeg for the playoffs and all that, I think would be really good, even if he doesn't get into a game.
All right, Hustle, you have a good show, buddy. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll be breaking down some Masters on Monday, man.
Yeah, good luck, everyone. Check those live odds throughout the afternoon once things get going, but also after today's round, once the cut is finished, we'll have a pretty good idea about the way things are shaking out. And hey, you know what? Let's go Corey Connors. We all had a piece of Corey in some way or the other. He's pretty much a lock to be top Canadian right now. Big question is whether he can continue his strong round, grab a few more birdies, and be right up there in that top group. But as we see some other guys fall back, he's hanging in there right now. Still a lot of golf left to play, but we know how good he is at Augusta. Be another great story, and I know the folks at TSN would be pretty happy if there was lots of Corey Connors coming up this weekend. Have a great weekend, dude.
You too, man. There you go. That's us, Winnipeg Sports Talk, coming up here right away at the top of the hour as well. We're going to call our qualifier here. Then Zacticum's got a couple of UFC 300 picks. He's a big UFC guy. UFC 300 this weekend. I think I saw Big Maple over there as well. But let's get to our qualifier. Who's qualifying, Zach?
Brie Lando
qualifying today. Brie Lando, congratulations. One step closer.
Woo! Let's go, boys.
Oh, you're pretty excited, eh, Brie Lando?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been to Vegas?
I have multiple times.
Do you say lots of times?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so you know what you're getting into. You're a vet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Brie Lando, who'd you bring with you, buddy?
Well, my wife just came back from Vegas this week, so
without you.
She's good without me.
Yeah.
I stayed home with my 3 kids. So.
Oh, it's your turn then, man.
Yeah, it's my turn.
It's your turn.
One of my buddies.
All right. Well, best of luck, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, there we go. Hey, that's good news. His wife just came back. He was home with the kids. Free Vegas trip coming up. Not too shabby. Brie Lando, your qualifier for today. Oilstream coming up here around noon. Tommy and I'll be getting ready for that game. Tommy have pre- and post-game tonight, obviously getting ready for the Oilers and Coyotes as well. We'll talk about Mark Stone starting to get healthy just in time. Oh, you Golden Knights, you're hilarious. All right, but Zatzcom, UFC 300, it's a big one. I remember UFC 100 was like the biggest thing ever. I remember watching it, me and the boys. We were fired up. Now here we are on UFC 300. What do you got? A couple plays for us this weekend or what?
Well, yeah, I took a look. There was a lot that I've kind of thought about putting some money on and sprinkling in, and there's actually a UFC promo on Coolbet where I think it is you put $25 down, you get a free $25 to bet on UFC. So you could still opt into that one. But the biggest one that pops out to me is Charles Oliveira up against Arman Tsarukyan.
Okay.
That's on the main card. And Charles Oliveira, he's only lost one of his last 13 fights. So he was a champ in the lightweight division, lost against Islam Makhachev. But he comes into this fight as the underdog, surprisingly.
Plus 183 dog.
Plus 183 dog, so a little bit there. And, you sprinkle a bit on there. You've got a good chance, but Arman Tsarukyan is a tough customer, so it'll be a great fight. I do think Oliveira has him. He's just better overall, and, he was the champ. So that's a really good bet there. And then the main event of the evening, Jamal Hill, he goes in to fight up against Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira is the champ, but Jamal Hill, he lost his belt, but he didn't lose it in a fight. He got injured, so he wasn't able to keep fighting and defend his title. And this is his first fight since his injury and since his belt has been stripped from him. And he's a plus 111 underdog, and I think that's a pretty good bet to make. I like Alex Pereira, but Jamal Hill is dangerous, and that wouldn't be a bad pick to make just to throw a little bit there to make it a little bit exciting.
There we go. A couple of dogs. There you go. A couple of dogs for UFC 300 from Zacticum, who knows about this stuff because what do? You do Taekwondo or something like that?
That's what my parents call it. Jiu-jitsu.
Oh, jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu,
Okay, sorry. Okay, so you're a jiu-jitsu guy. Yeah. So if anybody's going to know, it would be the guy who does jiu-jitsu around the office. All right, so there you go. A couple of plays, UFC 300 as well. All right, on the way next, Tommy Gazzola will join me, and we will dive into game day edition of the Oil Stream. Send all your Oilers questions to 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Another opportunity to qualify for the EST flyaway as well. That's going to do it for the Lock Shop today. Best of luck tonight, and we will talk to you on Monday.